migrated across the Bering Straits into Alaska and Canada. And amongst the First Nation people, we say indigenous people, was Tawhid. It was amongst them. This is a very important point to keep in your mind, because when we are talking about Muslims in Canada, we are not talking about people from the Middle East or from Asia. We are talking about people who believe in the Creator, one God. And so amongst the First Nations, there was Tawhid. And we have proof of this from a group called the Mi'kmaq, who is an indigenous group on the eastern coast of Canada. And their word for the Creator was Niskem. And in the writings of the Mi'kmaq people, and this is information that has come to the surface in the past few years, Niskem, they identified the Creator. And their descriptions of the Creator are very similar to our descriptions that we find in the Quran itself. And this is in line with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, because Allah told us in Surah An-Nahl, verse 36, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنْ يَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. And we have sent to every nation a messenger, that they believe in one God and they stay away from the false gods. So in Canadian history, or the recent Canadian history, you find Jacques Cartier. These are the Europeans coming now. He meets the Mi'kmaq nation. They're the first nation to meet him. And they are not pagan people. They are not idol-worshipping people. But they are people with a belief in one God. So according to the root definition of the word Muslim, they are part of our ummah, our international body of believers. So Canada itself, and you'll be surprised to know, especially those who may be new to Canada or may not live in this part of the world, but Canada is an indigenous word. It comes from Iroquois, the Iroquois nation. And within the Iroquois language, Kanata. Kanata means a large village. So literally, Canada is not a European word. It's not British. It's not French. It's not Canada Dry, although you love your ginger ale, right? It's not your Canada Dry. Every time you say you're Canadian, you are saying you're an indigenous person. That sounds surprising, doesn't it? But that's the root definition of the term. And if you look at the history, you will find that what we know as Canada way back was only a few states. Just the small area that you see there, Upper and Lower Canada, that was Canada before. The rest of the country was controlled by the indigenous people.